to do everything I can to make our place a safer and safer environment. Everybody should leave today, I think, better than they came in the morning if we do it right. If we love our people and we create an environment that's safe, they should be better than they were when they punched in this morning.
Today, I am excited to welcome my friend Clint West back to the show. Now, Clint is the CEO at a company called MacDonald Owen, and they're a lumber company, and they're on a prolific journey of continuous improvement. And we've had a good fortune of being able to work with Clint and his team over the years on various lean improvements, and they've sent a bunch of people through our lean practitioner certification program, and it's just been fantastic to work with. And so today on the show, Clint and I really talk about their journey, and in particular the early days of lean at MacDonald Owen. Like, what did it look like at the beginning? Why were they doing it? Clint actually shares some really cool examples of some of the initial focus, and really they still do focus on these things. But initially there was a strong focus on safety. You can imagine in a lumber yard, safety is extremely important, as it is at many places. But in addition to safety, they were also really focused, Clint in particular is really focused on the cultural health of the company, and just really investing in their people. Clint explained that, everybody's, all their competitors, they all have the same equipment, they all have the same things, access to the same tools and so forth. So really it's their people that separates MacDonald Owen from their competitors. What's interesting, I was actually bouncing around on their website today, and before I recorded this intro, and I landed on their About Us page, and there was a really cool story of the gentleman Archie MacDonald, who is the founder of MacDonald and Owen, and then on this page they shared a quote that Archie had shared with the current president, David Dwight. And Archie had said, "The only thing you really have is your honor. There's plenty of money to be made, so treat people right. If you cheat people and lie just to make a few extra dollars, no one will trust you." I think it's a beautiful statement. And as you're going to hear, this is really at the heart of what MacDonald Owen is all about. It's really about people and treating them right, including your employees, your customers, and everyone else in between. So really good episode. I think you're going to enjoy it. I know I love talking to Clint. So show notes can be found over at gembapodcast.com. Look for episode 531. Also, please do connect with Clint and tell him thank you for coming onto the show. And if you don't mind, give us a 5-star review over on that Apple Podcast app if you're on that one, or if you're on Spotify or whatever you're listening to the podcast on. If you can give us a review and leave a little comment, I read every single one of them, and it really does help us spread the news of this podcast, and really ultimately spread the good news that is lean and continuous improvement. So I'd appreciate that. Okay, enough from me. Let's get to the show. Clint, welcome back to the show. How's it going?
Good, buddy. Good. We got our last snowfall of the year, we hope, here today. So
oh yeah.
There's a lot of people with snowmobiles that are rejoicing, and a lot of people that put their, that had their shorts and t-shirts ready to go or not. So, yeah.
So people are listening to this right now because we're like 10 episodes ahead when I'm recording this. We're recording this in the end of March, people. So don't think like, wait, why in May or whatever this thing comes out, right? Are you talking about snow? But no, that's awesome, man. But listen, I as you know, I grew up in the Midwest, man, and I remember there would be times when it's like April or whatever, and it's like some snow coming out, like, enough. Enough.
That's right. Winter's coming. That's at some point it's coming back again. So yeah, it's been great. It's I appreciate you taking some time with me here today. I always cherish my time with the Gemba Run. You know that I'm a big fan and a big believer in what you guys are teaching there. So thank you for your faithfulness over the years to help the world be a better, leaner place.
Yeah, well, we appreciate you guys as well, man. I've loved working with you and your team. So, well, good stuff. Well, hey, Clint, you know the drill, man. We like to begin all of our episodes with our guest sharing a quote. So what do you got?
Well, the quote that's been on my mind here recently is that lean is not a list of things to do, but a way of thinking.
What's that mean to you?
Well, I tell you, what it means to me is we've got a company that's been around for 50 years, and we've had some successes. And you know, when you look back at the things that made you successful in the past, those may or may not be the things that make you successful into the future. And you know, when you're trying to lead from an entrepreneurial startup, you know, visionary led company to a lean scientific thinking company, that you have to confront some things that you need to learn to think different, and you have to challenge some established pathways that you have in your brain about what you believe to be true. Man,
I mean, it's such a, if you think about it, we could just have a podcast just on this topic alone, right? Because I mean, thinking differently, you know, whether it's in the context of continuous improvement or just the way that we treat one another as human beings, right? Like it's so difficult. For me, a lot of it has to do with our, you know, the various biases that we have as human beings, whether there's, I mean, like, you know, there's all kinds of biases, recency bias or confirmation bias, like just go on to your favorite, you know, social media platform with all the people that think like you do and say what you want to say. And you know what I mean? It's like an echo chamber and all that. And then you bring all that with you into work or whatever, again, in your community, at home, all that kind of stuff. I mean, do you see that? Do you see biases as an obstacle?
Oh, there's no question, friend. I'm just so glad that you're willing to go there. You know, in so many ways, our culture is, you can set it up where you don't have to listen to any music that you don't want to listen to. You don't have to hear the news that you don't want to listen to. And so when you have a world that is shaped by everything that you've already decided you want yourself to be influenced in, you know, you could be allowing yourself to get into a place that isn't necessarily the most healthy or the most accountable place to be. And in our company, because we're kind of have, even for the first 50 years of our existence, have had a like an entrepreneurial heroic human effort has driven the company forward. And you know, you look and when you have 6 people and you know, your company's small, you need that. You know, you need some of that heroic human effort. But as you advance, you can't sustainably trust in heroic human effort forever. It's not scalable. It's not replicable. You can't train that into a new person. And so really that transition from heroic human effort to flawless, repeatable standard work and scientific problem solving, that's where we're at as a company right now. And it is it is no small feat to challenge some of those assumptions that we have in our brains.
I love it. All right. Well, hey, Clint, let's jump back a step and tell everybody about yourself. Tell us about your background, how you first got involved in this line of work that you're in, and then catch everybody up. Like, what do you do today?
Yeah, I appreciate that. You know, I was born a long line of farmers in northeastern Nebraska. And, you know, when I was about 5 years old, our house burned down and we had to, you know, we had to sell the farm and move to the city. And my family moved a lot. And, you know, we ended up in a little town called La Crosse, Wisconsin, and ended up going to college there. And I got a degree that nobody really cared about. So, so here I am. I got a degree. I promised my mom I would finish college, and I did. And but I got a degree that nobody cares about. And I had a family friend that said, "Hey, maybe you want to try the lumber business." And so I was employee number 6 at the great MacDonald Owen Lumber Company, and today we have 206 people. And you know, we went from 10 million to 130 million in sales last year. So it's been an amazing and epic ride, and it's so fun to be a part of such a dynamic organization. And it was really clear to me, Ron, a few years ago, as the company had grown, we had reached a plateau, that we weren't going to be able to grow past the heroic human effort that we had trusted in over the years to get us where we're at. that we needed to completely and cataclysmically embrace a different mindset if we were going to grow. And so that's where we reached out to the Gemba and to help us to embrace lean thinking and scientific problem solving. And it's been really fun and challenging. Challenging and fun to be a part of that type of effort.
Yeah. Well, it's been fun watching you guys grow and improve. And I know you've worked very closely with Steve Kane over there on our coaching certification team. So, but Clint, what's your role today for MacDonald Owen?
Yeah, I'm the CEO. And my job is to make sure that the company is positioned properly in the marketplace and that it's healthy. See, we believe that the cultural health of the company is probably the most important thing for future success. The machines are all the same. The forest is all the same. And we think the only thing that makes us different is how well we can recruit and train and weaponize great human talent. And we don't think we can do that without standard work, kata coaching, a lot of the lean methodology that we've learned along the way, working with Steve Kane and the others at the Gemba.
Mm-hmm. So walk us through your career. I'm curious. You're CEO now. You're the top. Like, what are some of the and you don't have to list them all because I'm sure there's been a bunch, but like, what's your career progression look like?
So I started in sales, and it was kind of just go see if you can get people to buy boards from us, which was fun at the time. And what you realize is like, hey, once you get people to buy boards from you, then the problem isn't necessarily selling the boards, but it's producing them at the rate and cost that the people want to keep buying those boards from you. And so as we've grown our manufacturing footprint over the last 20 years, the real challenge has been in how do we produce the right amount and quality and volume at the right time for our customers that want to keep buying from us. So it's been a fun and unique challenge, no doubt. But as the company's grown, then my responsibilities became more, making sure that our leadership team is strong, and almost all of my effort goes into that nowadays. Is do we have the right leaders in the right places that can handle the load that we've entrusted to them?
Now, so you guys have had an interesting journey with lean. I'm curious to hear your thoughts as the CEO. Like, how are you? I mean, the good thing about your company is you're bought in, right? And so not everybody, unfortunately, listening has a CEO that's as bought in as you are, but let's start there. Let's assume that we've got some CEOs or some leaders of organizations listening. What are some of the things that you feel like, if you look back on it, that maybe you feel like you've done well, in all humility, but also maybe some things that you have not done so well, again, in all humility?
I think, things that I look back and I'm proud of is that our team is relentless, and we went through the 2008 housing crisis, and we came out of that stronger, and we've endured multiple rounds of trade wars and COVID and post-COVID, and we've had so much volatility in our space and in our industry. Over the course of the last 20 years, we've seen consumption of U.S. hardwoods go from 20 billion board feet a year to 4. And during that time, we went from 10 million in sales to 130. It's the exact opposite slope in our company versus our industry. And we're real proud of that. That means that we're doing a lot of things right. But at the same time, as I look back and I think about those 20 years, it wasn't only right, and it wasn't only perfect, and it wasn't only good. And we've had to learn how to challenge each other in ways that actually produce a result instead of resentment. And that's tough to do sometimes. And you can only do it, I believe, if you have lean methodologies in play, because then you're talking about a system, not a person. And I'm not frustrated with you, the person. I'm frustrated with the system. And I think that is the part of our growth that I wish 20 years ago if I had it to do all over again, I would have embraced that sooner and faster and more aggressively, because I really think that the people are not our problem. They're not. And I love our people. I think our people are great. I think we have a world-class company, but too often a systematic problem can be reduced into a person frustration. And then nothing super positive comes from that. And so really that shifting from people dependency to process proficiency is really, if I had it to do over again, that's what I would have really put more energy into that sooner.
And you want to come to Gimp Academy sooner, obviously.
That's right, brother. That's right. You know it.
So, walk us through then the journey then. Like, I mean, did you start with just some of the basics, or did you start? Because I mean, you guys were started on this journey before you came to Gimp Academy, so it wasn't like you were doing nothing, right? When you came to us. So, talk about those early days. What did it look like? What did continuous improvement look like?
Yeah, it started with the lean and the process improvement. Started with just some of our people that were saying, "Hey, we have to do our leadership different," and managing inventory and leading people, and managing our processes and leading our people. That there was a distinction that we started to learn, and we knew we needed in order for us to grow, we had to be able to teach people to do the things that we needed to have done in a more systematic and user-friendly way. And so that's kind of where it started, was just like, how do we create standard work that somebody that doesn't know anything about lumber can come in and quickly learn how to contribute in a systematic and smooth and in a way that is that's helpful for everybody, including them. So once we decided we were going to go down that road, you know what it's like. You start down that road and you realize, wow, this is not it. There's no specific silver bullet for this. This is a marathon, never ending, constant, continuous improvement quest that we understood right away that this was going to be the rest of our career.
So give us some examples of some of the things that you've done because I remember from the last time we talked was at episode 514, where, you sort of touched on like some of the results that you guys have achieved as a result of continuous improvement, like financial, benefits and things like that. But like, what are you trying to improve? Like, just be more efficient, I know safety is a huge part of your culture. Maybe talk about some of the actual improvements that you've made.
Yeah. When like anything, whenever you start doing something, you don't do it as well as you will if you stay committed to it. And so when we realized, we did some audits and we asked some professionals to come in and give us a critique on what was our safety environment and what was so we actually hired a firm to come in and give us an audit of the physical environment in our facilities. And we also asked a firm to come in and give us an audit of our cultural health. And those are kind of the two things that we were having a lot of turnover in our staff. And we had some injuries that were just unacceptable. And so we knew that at least that was the starting point was how do we decrease our turnover and how do we increase our safety for the sake of our people. We realized that there was something there that we could do differently. And so asking some people from outside the company to come in and give us an assessment, give us a starting point, that we say, okay, well, we can, can we do these things that they've said we need to do? And then what happened is that we got to the point where we would do those things that those outside people would tell us we could or should do. But then our people started to say, hey, well, we could do that, but we could also do this. And next thing you know, we've got some inertia going and things are starting to happen from the ground up, which is really, really, really powerful and exciting.
Yeah. I think it's great just to get some help, to get going, but don't rely on that help for the next 15 years, right? Like find some consultants that will teach you how to fish, right? If they don't want to teach you how to fish, get them out of there, dude. Because you're the fish at that point. Right. So what about, and feel free to share as much as you can. I mean, you're the CEO, so you can say whatever you want probably, but like, I remember, and maybe you were sharing this offline, so just tell me to shut up if need be, but talk about some of the financial benefits or sales benefits that you've seen as a result of implementing Lean in your company.
Yeah. It's really been, our turnover is down substantially over the last 4 years. Our inventory turns are up almost. We went from 4 to 6.5 inventory turns a year, which in our space is really huge. I mean, that's millions of dollars worth of inventory that we can redeploy those resources in other directions now because of our ability to turn it faster and more efficiently. Our profit margins are up, and our year-over-year sales to customers is at least as good as it was before, and we're picking up new customers along the way. So what we're realizing is that we're growing and keeping and growing our relevance with our customers and adding new customers in a time where our overall industry is in decline. Something we're real proud of. It's we are just happy to out hustle our competitors, but also we're happy to consistently deliver what our customers need when they need it.
Mm-hmm. What do you think the state of Lean and continuous improvement is in your specific industry, like with your competitors and that sort of thing? Are they also trying to practice Lean?
Yeah, I think in our industry you have a huge spectrum of sensitivity to, let's say specifically safety. In our industry, you have really world-class people with companies with multiple years of zero lost time and zero incidences. They're very rightfully proud of the conditions in their workplace and their safety practices. Mm-hmm. At the same time, every year you will hear a tragic story about somebody who died in our industry. It's terrible. Mm. We've had multiple vendors of ours that have lost employees in the last year. And that's something that compels me to do everything I can to make our place a safer and safer environment. Everybody should leave today, I think, better than they came in the morning if we do it right. Mm-hmm. If we love our people and we create an environment that's safe, they should be better than they were when they punched in this morning. Yeah. And that's the goal, is that we go for that. And it's just tragic to hear of somebody whose backup alarm wasn't working properly. You know, someone was injured, or a machine that wasn't guarded properly and someone was injured. And, that type of situation is just so, that's fuel in my fire, so to speak, because I don't want that to be M&O. That cannot be our company. We can't have something like that happen to our great people. And I don't want it for anybody anywhere, but I can't control everybody anywhere. But I can wield any kind of influence I have here to help make our environment a safer place. And honestly, team-based problem solving, scientific problem solving, all that lean applied to a safety of our environment is helping us advance that agenda. Yeah. Because it takes everybody to pull it off. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I know you guys send a bunch of people through our Lean Practitioner certification program, and, it's just investing in people like that. And then they come out the other end and they're full of fire, right? Like ready to go, and to invoke change. And then I got to get out of their way at that point. Really.
That's right. Yeah. So the more we can bring in everybody's everybody's hearts and their minds to just keep everybody rolling in the same direction. That's really powerful, really powerful. And honestly, I think people want to do that. People want to be a part of something, right? I mean, they want to feel like they matter and their efforts matter and it's meaningful. And that's the reality of our situation is we need them. We need everybody.
Yep. What's the hardest part of your job as CEO?
Wow, that's a great question. I think the hardest part in my job as CEO is trying to figure out what the right pace of growth is. Because there's always an opportunity to improve or to grow. And we could burn good people out by trying to go too far, too fast. And I think that's what I'm hopeful that we can continue to learn as we grow in our lean practice, is that we can grow in a more sustainable and thoughtful way. And I feel like in me as CEO, I see a lot of opportunity for us to grow. I see a lot of opportunity for us to get better. And that trying to temper that is a little bit, prioritize and temper that is a little bit, that's a challenge to me because I want to go for all of it, Well,
you're a sales guy, man, right? I mean, for real. I mean, because if you have a CEO who's got a finance background, they got a bias. You got somebody that's a salesperson and a strong sales background, you got a bias, right? And so I can imagine how difficult it is for you with a sales background to, say, hey, slow and steady wins the race or something like that, right?
Right. And I've it's been, really, wanting to go fast. But what I'm learning is, hey, if you want to, there's an African proverb that I like that says, if you want to go fast, go alone. And if you want to go far, go together. And we're learning how to do together better, and we're getting faster at doing together better. And I feel like embracing that has been really helpful for our organization, just to be able to do thoughtful improvements consistently. It produces way more fruit than going fast and, with not yielding all the fruit that you could with a fast harvest.
So when you were a $10 million company many, many years ago, did you ever imagine at that point, if you can remember, that you'd be $100 million company someday?
To be honest, no, I didn't think that was. We in 2007 we set out to be a $50 million company. We thought that was going to be the most epic of all accomplishments. It was a big, hairy, audacious goal that we set out, and you put it on the board and you think how could we just imagine if we could ever achieve that? And that was really compelling to our people because it gave us, everybody thought that was a big, huge deal, and so to blow through that has been really fun, and you realize you don't know why can't you do that thing that could be done? It's affected the way we think about our future because now we don't know what we can't do.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and it's like growth, you are going to grow unless it's kind of like I'm a big believer, in the Six Sigma framework, there's DMAIC and C stands for control. Like I'm of the opinion, you can't control anything. It's either getting better or it's getting worse. Your choice. Right. And so in your case, you are going to grow or you're going to decline, right? And how fast you grow, that's what you were talking about earlier, like controlling that growth so it doesn't get out of line with what we can do, because then it will decline, right? So I suppose that's the dance, right?
Right. Yeah, healthy things grow and they get more complex, and then you got to figure out how to streamline that complexity so you can grow some more.
Yeah.
And, that's what I really appreciate about our lean problem solving and our Gemba training is a lot of the practices that we have now on the daily are so much different than they were 5 years ago. And so much more of it is objective. We have actual data now that we're looking at instead of asking somebody what they think we should do. We're looking at what does the data tell us, or what does our process tell us we need to do in this moment based off these conditions. And it's so much more clear and transparent and helpful and actionable.
So to wrap things up, I want you to speak to I normally would say, speak to the other CEOs out there, and give them some advice, which is fine. But I want you to speak because I find it so inspiring that, you started this thing, 6 people, salesperson coming in, just trying to sell some boards. Like you said, now you're running $100 million company. I want you to talk to the people listening right now who are, maybe they're just kind of at the beginning of their career and they have no idea what the future holds. Like, speak some words of encouragement to them and, to give them some dreams of what they could be one day.
Oh, that's such a great, thank you, friend, for teeing that up, because I would say this to a person just starting their career out there: dream big and don't ever underestimate the influence that you could have in whatever organization you're a part of. And anything worth doing is worth not doing well at first. You just got to get started and just go for it. And don't think about yourself as weak. Don't think about yourself as small. Don't think about yourself as you don't have all those things that you don't have, because there's what you could be or can be that is the real thing to focus on. You can be better. You can be a victorious leader in any scope of any industry. I actually believe that somebody who sets out to get better every day will actually gain so much influence in their organization, no matter where you start, because it's rare in the world that people look at themselves in that way. And people tend to have a small view of themselves. And the fact is, people use only about 8% of their potential. And if you could embrace the fact that you have so much more to offer the world than maybe what you think you have, if you can embrace the fact that maybe you have a lot to offer and maybe you can learn and grow, and if you do that, oh boy, opportunities will come your way. No question about that. And because that's what people want. Customers want to hear that you'll learn to do what they want to have done. But if you tell them, here's what you get, they might not want that. And that's same for your boss. That's same for your spouse. That's same for any relationship that you ever have. If you go into it with a open mind and heart and a passion to learn, you will get better, and people will love that.
Yeah. Well, the thing I appreciate about you, Clint, is you've got such a positive energy about you, man. And I'm sure even if you're having a bad day, you probably find a way to spin it positive or something. I don't know.
Well, every day you learn something new. That is for sure. And, there are every rose has its thorn, and everybody's got bumps in the road they got to overcome. But that's just life. If you can embrace that and grow through that, boy, what can't you do?
Yeah. Hey, if people want to connect with you, Clint, directly or your company, what's the best way?
Hardwoodlumber.net. That is our company's website, and that's a great way to see what we're doing and what we're up to. That's probably the best way for people to see what's happening. And we're going to keep doing what we set out to do, and I'm thankful for your partnership, Ron, for your vision that started many years ago. You didn't intend for this moment to happen. You didn't specifically set out, when you created the Gemba Academy, to be here today, but I'm thankful for your faithfulness to your dream. And I'm going to do the same at MacDonald Owen. And, we're just going to keep cheering each other on to do and be better. And so thank you for that.
Oh, man, my pleasure, man. And we're just getting started, my man, both of us.
That's right. That's right. The best is yet to come.
Yes. All right, man. I appreciate you, Clint. Take care.
Thanks, Ron. You stay cool, buddy.
All right. Bye.
Okay, bye.
Thanks for listening. Whether you've been on the continuous improvement journey for many years, or perhaps you're just getting started, Gemba Academy is here to support you. And while we're best known for our more than 1,500 Lean and Six Sigma teaching and virtual tour videos, we also have a team of experienced Lean and Six Sigma practitioners available for one-on-one coaching, as well as a variety of Lean and Six Sigma certification options. To learn more and to schedule a demo, head on over to gembaacademy.com.